Exercise 14.8 starts by giving you this rather intimidating list of costs and categories and says, come up with the cost of goods manufactured and the cost of goods sold. And just looking at that, that's pretty intimidating. But I want you to remember my one-way street. I think we talked about this. That everything in manufacturing accounting is a one-way street. We start over here with our direct material, our direct labor, and our manufacturing overhead or factory overhead. Call it what you like. Those three items go into a bucket called work in process. You keep adding those things into that bucket until you have stuff that's finished. When that stuff is finished, it comes out of that bucket and goes into a bucket called finished goods inventory. It stays there until it's sold, and when it leaves that bucket, it goes to another bucket called cost of goods sold. Now, cost of goods sold, you remember from the financial part of this course. This cost of goods sold is exactly the same where you have beginning inventory, but instead of purchases, you have cost of goods manufactured. So, what we have to do is work this out, because remember, we didn't buy these goods, we made these goods. So, using all of these numbers that they gave us, let's start. And we have our beginning raw materials inventory. Now, this list is not necessarily in the order you need. You need the order I showed you in my buckets. And over here where I said direct material, there's really one before that. Raw material, beginning inventory, plus purchases raw material, minus ending raw material, equals raw material used. So really there's that one bucket before that. So we have to put these things in that order, and then we can go through. So we need to start by looking for our beginning raw material inventory. And for Garcon, we find that our beginning raw material inventory is 7,250, and for Pepper, it's 900. Then we have to search, and we find our raw material purchases for, I guess that's Garcon, 33,000 and 52,000. And that gives us the total raw materials available for use. Does that sound like total goods available from financial accounting? Damn right it does. It's the same calculation. Now, less our ending raw materials. They give us that. We have to dig that out. It's 5,300 and 7,200. So our direct materials used, 34,950 and 53,800. So that was that first bucket. We just did this bucket to come up with our direct material. Okay? Now, that goes in the bucket. We add direct labor of 19,000 for Garcon. I'm probably the only person in Schuylkill County that says Garcon. This is the kind of area where when you go to a good restaurant, you know it means they changed the grease this year. Okay, the rental cost on factory equipment, factory utilities, all of these are overhead. They could have given them to us nicely, but they gave them to us one at a time. Your basic pain in the patoot. So $27,000 and $22,750. And then factory utilities, $9,000 and $12,000. And factory supplies used, this would be $82,000 and $32,000. Notice how I cleverly wrote 83 when I went 82. I also wrote thousand, I meant hundred. I should never try to do these things sober. Indirect labor, $12.50 and $76.60. And repairs for factory overhead, for factory equipment, which is overhead, $47.80. Sorry, it's my recreational dyslexia kicking in. And $1,500. So my total factory overhead, total these, is $50,230 for a garçon, and $47,110 for pepper. Now I need, let me highlight the numbers I got to get. I need the direct materials. I need direct labor. And I need total factory overhead. We started with this bucket. We just computed this bucket. We put all of that to work in process. So they're the total manufacturing costs. When we add those together, the total manufacturing costs for a garçon are $104,180. That's adding up to 3 pink lines. And $155,860 for pepper. Now, work in process, we have to subtract the beginning work in process or the ending work in process because we had stuff on the assembly line. We added to that. At the end of the period, we had stuff left, so we have to subtract that. So we start with our work in process, we add the cost of goods manufactured, and then we subtract the ending work in process. So our beginning work in process, they gave us that, was $14,500 and $19,950. That was the value of the stuff that was on the assembly line at the beginning of the period. That's what we added to. So the total cost of the work in process, and this is exactly like total goods available from financial accounting. This is $118,680. And this is $155,860. Total goods available minus ending inventory, only now it's minus ending work in process. And our ending work in process is $22,000 for Garcon and $16,000 for pepper. So our cost of goods manufactured is the total goods available minus the ending work in process. So cost of goods manufactured, 96,680, which you can't see because I have it too low. We have 96,680 for Garcon, and we have 155,860 minus 16, 139,860 for Pepper. That works just like cost of goods purchased, but now we made them, so that's cost of goods manufactured. Just like in financial, we start with beginning inventory. The only thing that's different is we added the word finished goods. Same thing. Beginning inventory plus cost of goods manufactured. Used to be cost of goods purchased or cost of goods bought or inventory purchases, or well, now we're making it, we're not buying it. So it's cost of goods manufactured. So we had 12,000. We made 96,680 for Garcon, and we made 139,860 for Pepper. Just like last time with financial accounting, we added those together to get total goods available of 108,680 and 156,310. This is exactly the same computation you did for cost of goods sold, minus the ending inventory of finished goods, and they gave that in that laundry list of garbage they gave us to start this problem. 17,650 is what's left in finished goods for Garcon, and 13,300 is for Pepper. And when we're all done, the cost of goods sold is 91.30 for Garcon and 143.10 for Pepper. Now, if my handwriting were not so sucky, you would be looking at something that looked like this. All the numbers came from that first sheet, but we just had to put them in the right order. So first we had to come up using these numbers to come up with the cost of goods manufactured. And that's where you get that. Because you did all of this to come up to those two numbers. And then you did all of that to use that number once, right there. And that gives you your cost of goods sold. So it's exactly like you did in financial accounting. The only thing that's different is the terms.